This is Just Zach and Spiritual.
So would you say that Sean played sort of a mentoring role for you?
Yeah, definitely. So his birthday is a day after mine plus 10 years. And so I always say to him, he's just me in 10 years' time. And so he's an associate professor here now. And so, yeah, he's been a good someone who's doing the kind of things that I saw myself doing, being an academic, publishing in academic journals, but also doing industry engaged work, also doing, presentations for corporate audiences, going to industry seminars as much as he is academic conferences, and being in the media and all of those kind of things. Definitely has been someone I have, seen what they've done and taken parts of and evolved in my own way.
And how important would you say, having someone in that sort of, whether it's a formal or an informal sort of mentoring role, how important do you think it has had an effect for your career? So I've spoken to a few people already about this, and, it's sort of really helped shape their thinking, and they don't necessarily go to the same person with the same problem. In fact, I've been told that the more normal model is having almost a cluster of informal mentors, a bunch of people who you personally respect. Doesn't necessarily matter if other people respect them, because at the end of the day, you're the one getting feedback, but naturally other people find them respectful as well. But more in terms of like, I have a specific problem about, maybe it's the corporate engagement, I'll speak to this person about it. Maybe it's the academic publish, I'll speak to someone else about it. Do you find yourself having a group of people that you consider mentors and you go to specific problems, or is it that more traditional role where you have one person and you go to them, or maybe two?
Yeah, I think the cluster idea is right. And as you said, not even necessarily as a formal agreement, but just people that you know or that you see that are doing the kinds of things that you want to be doing. And sometimes it's not even that they're directly giving you advice. You can observe a lot of what people are doing, the way that they work, or the type of things that they're doing, and take a lot from that, even without having to necessarily even know the person. So you can see people out there doing certain things and take from that, I like this bit or I don't like this bit. So personally, I have a formal mentor here at Swinburne who I've known for quite a while, and that came about actually informally, where it was just someone I knew for quite a while, back to when I was at Monash. Is now one of our associate deans here. And when I got the job and started, I just reached out and said, we'd love to catch up. And we just started catching up for lunch sort of every month. And it almost just evolved where I just, at one of those times, it's sort of like we first start dating, which for me was like 15 years ago. So I'm very out of practice. But it's sort of that moment where you go, are we together now? It was the similar thing where I just was like, are you my mentor? Like, it wasn't a formal, I identified someone and said, I want you to be my mentor. It just happened organically. Yeah. And then I was like, I think you might be my mentor. Is this how you see it as well? And it evolved from there, which was nice. The other thing that we have here at Swinburne is within our department, we have Professor Lester Johnson, who's been doing academic stuff forever, as he says. And he's got a formal part of his role as research mentor for our department. So he often and openly says, that we should go to him with research ideas and he'll be sounding boards. We can go to him with half-written papers and he can, suggest things. He can go with about to be submitted papers, and he puts his editor hat on and does all of that kind of stuff. So that's a great resource for us. And we also now have a new teaching mentor program. So people who have won, either uni-wide or national teaching awards will go and, sit in your class and talk about, what was your objective for this class and how did that go and all that kind of stuff. So quite fortunate to have those formal programs in addition to, the network of people that you just see and look up to.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of great advice for potentially some of the, people who are early in their career, some of the younger people listening to this, or someone sort of in their mid-level, I suppose, is, look out for those formal mentoring opportunities within the organization. Some good, really healthy organizations tend to have those in place, and I take advantage of them. But also those, I remember thinking to myself, well, there seems to be a bit of a relationship between people who have mentors and their success. So it must be important to have one, but that's going to be super awkward. I don't want to, excuse me, knock on someone's door. Can you mentor me? And that's not really how it goes. And, talking to myself 5 years ago, I would have been like, it's even a silly kind of thought, but it's kind of nice for people who are listening who may be thinking that's the way it goes, is maybe just about organizing an initial meetup or someone you respect, and then kind of making it a semi-regular thing until before you know it, they're kind of in that informal mentoring kind of role. And if you're a good person and people enjoy your company, they're quite happy to catch up with you for coffee. And if they think you're a good person, they're happy to help you do better because, we're social human beings and we like to support those around us. As you would know, Mr. Psychologist, Dr. Psychologist.
Yeah. So, I mean, that exactly happened to me with Professor Sharon Rundle-Teely, who's the head of social marketing at Griffith. We met at a conference because I was in one of her students' presentations and made a suggestion, and she happened to be sitting in front of me. We had a chat. We started working on some things, and now we've been working together for a few years. And I go up there, a couple of times a year, and we talk about all sorts of stuff just because we've spent a lot of time together working on things. And so I would consider her an informal mentor. It was never a plan. I never had plans of working in social marketing. It just happened. So honestly, I didn't even know about their group or her or what she was doing before then. So definitely wasn't a deliberate, I want to learn from this person. It just happened organically. And I think that's the best way most relationships or opportunities happen. Even in business networking, I've always hated the idea of cold calling.
Yeah.
I've never found that's worked or been successful for me. I've always found it's been better organically of putting yourself out there and trying to position yourself in the areas that you know or are passionate about, and you end up connecting with people that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost serendipitous in some sense. You asked a question or proposed something in a student's presentation, and before you know it, you've had this direct conversation and influence on someone who, I quite admire. I'm very well aware of Sharon's work and the incredible team that she's managed to build up in Queensland at Griffith University. Something to very much admire. She's built an entire team based around social marketing, and I'm not entirely involved in that area, but I kind of see her as kind of the leader of that in the entirety of Australia, and definitely making headwinds in globally as well.